Somehow, my daughters fell in love with Formula One. I don't know how or why, but I'm not arguing. They may not know wheel, but does anyone?
Hi, and welcome to We Don't Know Wheel F1. I'm Anne.
And I'm Grace. We're two sisters who got obsessed with Formula One and decided to make our families listen to us talk about it all the time through the means of podcast.
We are so excited today because we have the one person who truly witnessed our entire descent into madness of being obsessed with Formula One with us on the podcast today, which is our sister Sarah. You want to introduce yourself
That's
a little bit?
right. I know it's been long awaited, highly anticipated. I'm excited to be on the show today, ladies. I know you guys talk about me in every episode. I mean, let's just put it out there. I'm constantly being name dropped.
You are on the official text thread, and so it's kind of hard not to name drop you.
That's right. I'm the sister that has the text thread on mute, and I will own up to that. Okay, I have no shame.
Sarah.
Did you remove your? I think she removed herself from the Instagram thread. She was like,
No,
"Bye-bye."
Okay. Sarah.
Well,
it's just on mute, which is like a healthy way for me to interact.
I mean, everyone in my contacts is on mute, so it's
exactly. Fine. It's called boundaries. Okay.
Yeah. It's called I Want to Sleep.
No, I'm actually very excited to do this. And, today was a good race.
It really was.
I jumped on the thread and I said, I'm coming on the pod tonight.
Yes. It was a good weekend.
Nothing to talk about.
There is so much that went on this weekend. Before we get into it, Sarah, do you want to describe your first memories of getting into Formula One?
Sure, yeah. So I remember going on a family walk last fall. It must have been I have no idea when.
2 falls ago. It was definitely not last fall.
It's all a fever dream. But we went on this walk and everybody was home for some reason, which is really rare. And Grace was like, we've all been watching this show, Sarah, you have to watch the show. Everyone's into it. And I was like, no. And then I watched it and yeah, I was into it. And then I went home, got a roommate into it, and we watched the entire season 3 of Drive to Survive in one weekend. We just sat down and watched the whole thing. And all my other roommates were going in and out, being like, oh, you guys are still watching? You guys are still watching? And yeah, I don't know. I used to say that Drive to Survive was canon and the actual races were not canon.
Wow.
I remember
they were extended universe. But I think I've flipped the switch a little bit this season. I've actually started watching the races and it's fun. But you know what? I like Drive to Survive too, because it's it fills the trash TV hole in my heart.
It is its own thing. It is very
yeah.
It's prestige reality television. It's doing its own thing.
For sure.
Absolutely. So that's been my experience. But these two have definitely dove into it much further than I have. I don't really follow much beyond the people I like. And also I will say, I know Grace is the Tumblr girly and Anne is definitely in the Twitterverse, which is shocking and terrifying to me. And I like to stay within the comforts of Instagram.
Even though
no one's on TikTok.
Instagram. No, maybe I should.
Yeah, none of us are on TikTok.
Jamie's on TikTok.
Well, there you go. So that's me.
I was gonna say, name your first memory about racing, because our dad, outside of Formula One, racing has definitely had through lines. And recently, Sarah and I were talking because our dad's been trying to get me to go to the Long Beach Grand Prix, which is an IndyCar race.
Mm-hmm.
And something about planning for that trip and getting ready for that made me be I'm very certain my dad has taken me to a race before. And I texted him because I was like, I have memories of being a very small child and going to a race car race. And he was like, yes, we went to a Trans Am race or so. I don't know what it I was like, who knew?
Of course.
Blocked him out.
I think he took me to Road America, which is no, not Road America. I don't know. Brainerd International
yeah.
Raceway.
Mhm.
When I was in high school is what
I
I
remember seeing
remember
pictures of that trip with
most.
you and mom and
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah, that's what I remember most vividly. And it was fun. It was fun.
She enjoyed it.
That's the end of that, I guess. I don't know.
I remember when I was a child, dad coerced me into watching Le Mans, the movie.
Boom.
I love that.
And it was, yes, it's the heartbeat movie. Before the start of
He's
the
like, there's no
race.
talking
all I
for the first
remember.
24 minutes.
And it's just torturous because it's so long. And it moves so slowly. And I don't need to go
I
further
definitely
into
never
it.
watched it in adulthood, so I can't speak to that.
I have not
I
watched
mean,
it
I
in
haven't watched
adulthood
it in
either.
adulthood either. Just as a child when dad forced me.
You gotta
Maybe
get dad
that's
on
the
the pod.
reason where
He won't. We've tried.
We've tried.
I'll work on
We're gonna
him.
keep working on it. But maybe that's the reason why we were all hesitant about Drive to Survive at first, is because we've all been traumatized by
Oh,
bad racing movies
absolutely.
from dad when we were kids.
Yeah, we were burned by Le Mans.
Yeah.
Yes,
Amongst
100%.
others.
And
Mhm.
also, I feel like dad is like, he's so enthusiastic about the things he loves. He loves that, like, if he tells me about something, I'm like, I understand
No.
that you love this. Does that mean I'm gonna love it? No. But then I feel like, but I'll listen to you and I'll engage with you on this. But am I gonna really get into this? Probably not. But then when Grace started telling me about the show, I was like, okay, well, this is new and interesting. Grace is watching and into it. Anne is watching and into it. They're both into the same thing, and dad is. I was like, something's not adding up here. And
Something's
then
off.
that's when we
Dad is
never
also
agree
kind of
on media.
yeah.
In this
Dad is
way.
kind of funny about how much he will invest in something though, because so even though Grace and I now have like accounts to be able to stream the races, and he won't do it. And
You have to cut that out of the pod.
Illegal activity.
Illegal activity.
But he said like,
So
I don't
cut it
want to
in
watch
here.
it without you. And I don't know. He's weird. He also like won't watch the Vikings unless I'm there either.
I literally
Wow.
was just talking to them this morning and they were both like, we just like the highlights.
I know.
You know, I watched the 30-minute version today and it was kind of great because you just get all the action
Yeah.
and none of the fluff.
None of the fluff.
I am curious, did they include the drama with Checo and Max at the end of the 30-minute version?
Briefly, yeah. They played the radio clips.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
of course they're gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah. None of the Carlos drama though. So I'm still a
Yeah.
little blurry on that. So you
Oh.
might have to tell me what
Interesting.
happened.
But like, okay, when there was all the Pierre drama in Singapore about the tractor on tractor in the safety car, that I don't think you said it wasn't included in the 30-minute race. Right, Grace?
Me? I don't know. I didn't watch I watched the race.
I didn't
Maybe
watch
it's
that
the
race at all. So.
highlights. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Okay.
Should we get into it?
Let's start at the beginning of the weekend. Qualifying.
Qualifying.
You mean free practice 1.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I did not watch free practice. Sorry guys, I'm not a real fan.
Checo was fastest in free practice 1.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
that
let's
the
talk about
Haas's were
qualifying.
like the slowest in free practice.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh man. This was the most exciting qualifying I've watched. I haven't watched a ton, but it was dramatic. It was exciting.
Qualifying in the rain. That's a vibe.
Mhm.
That's always fun.
Yes. Especially in Q1, it was ridiculous to just like watch the times keeping it faster and faster and faster, because someone would have set a time and then within like 3 minutes, that time which had been like third is all of a sudden 18th, and you're just like, what happened? Because everybody
Just
is
like-
getting progressively so much faster so quickly. It was hard to keep track of what was going on.
as the track dries out. And then
Yeah.
they got, I think, highlights. They get to Q3. Everybody knows like it's getting darker, it's gonna rain. The entire race is like
Mhm.
get to the front of the line to get out and get a
Yeah.
lap before it rains.
And I remember seeing the cars lined up, and they hadn't said it, but I saw there was a Ferrari with intermediates on. And I was like, no,
You
what
did
are
not
they
see
I
that.
did. I could see
You
the
could
grooves on the tires
No.
because I knew Ferrari was going to mess up a strategy
Anne's got
somehow.
her binoculars on.
The moment when
Those
Charles was like,
intermediates.
am I the only one on intermediates?
Oh.
And they were like, we think you are, was just like Heartbreak Hotel.
Oh,
And
Charles.
And you're
Awful.
like, this is the tiniest little track. It's so fast. And they were like, what? It's gonna rain. It's probably gonna rain. It's gonna rain. And I don't know.
Ugh,
It's gonna rain.
poor Charles.
Yeah. Well, and then I think there was a moment too where Carlos was like, we need to go. Get out there. As they were like, leave the warming blankets on. And he was like, get in the line. Why didn't you listen to me? Yes.
Oh my God.
And he was right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it was just like Haas was on the game enough to be like, okay, we want to get out first. Kevin did one
Yeah.
like good lap. Probably
And
not
Kevin
like an
was-
amazing lap, but no mistakes. Really good.
Yeah. Kevin did a good lap.
He did an awesome lap.
No one can take that away from him.
Absolutely not.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. And then it turns to the
Sarah.
pole.
I'm
That was
happy for
so-
Kevin. I'm happy
Yeah.
for Kevin. I've
It
always
made-
been a Kevin fan. He's the bad
Liar.
boy of F1.
Why do you say
That's what he called himself.
Did he say that in Drive to Survive?
I think so.
When he
I'm
broke
not
Gunther's
making it up.
door? It definitely made me like, oh dang, I shouldn't have put him so low on my ranking last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's just such a grumpy goose all the time. Like he's
That's
not,
why I like him.
oh my God. But he's not like fun grumpy. He's not like, I don't know. He's just like depressed grumpy.
He's not like Fernando Grumpy.
Yeah.
I know you were
Fernando
thinking
is
it.
spicy grumpy. And Kevin
Chaos
Magnuson
causing
is
grumpy.
yeah. Yeah, no, but I was super happy for him and like how lovely.
Gunther.
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 So happy.
So
Everyone's happy. Gene Haas is like,
earned it.
finally.
Look like a bunch of rock stars.
That was like
Oh.
it was like exciting for Kevin, but also like a little bit of a bummer that it was a sprint because you were like, oh.
Mhm.
But
It's not gonna
he also
last.
did, but also like he did well in the sprint and like good for him.
Yeah.
For
Mhm.
you
That
know,
was,
he got a good race out of that.
I think I had unrealistic expectations that he would be able to fight a little bit more and try and stay further up in the field.
No, he was just here to like stay in the race. Today he was here to fight.
Uh-huh. More on that later.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the sprint. I don't even
Yeah.
remember the sprint
Because
anymore.
I
It's gone.
actually watched
Oh, the sprint is when
live. live.
Max did poorly because they put him on mediums and everybody else is on softs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to tires so much.
Tyler's like decided this whole race, Sarah.
I'm just like here for the vibes, you know?
She's here for the vibes. I like it. I woke up this morning at like 6 a.m. because my body hates me. And I was like, I'm going to go back to sleep. And then I was like, you know what I'm going to do first is I'm going to watch Carlos's onboard for the entire sprint
That's
because
so crazy.
because
Right.
why not? Because I thought to myself, like, I'm never gonna watch a whole onboard. Let's be real. That's totally nuts.
Yeah.
But a sprint is fast. So I would watch that whole onboard. And I did. And at least for Carlos, there's not that much talking. But I did feel like I got a very good feel for the circuit. How about that?
Good.
I got a good feel for the circuit. And I barely saw him even overtake Max. I was like, gone, here and gone before I even noticed it was happening.
Yeah. It felt odd this weekend to see the Red Bull struggling so much just because they've been so dominant all year. But it made it
Yeah.
more exciting.
Definitely made you be like, it's always more interesting
Yeah.
to see a race where like the dominant team and dominant player are not dominating so obviously.
Yeah. It's
And I
not
think
Max driving 30 seconds off into the distance.
yeah. And I mean, like, it was a fun race to watch, even with the Mercs obviously like doing so well. It was still like there were a lot of players up at the top throughout that race.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And everything behind Russell was so dramatic for those first like top 5 spots of like Checo and Carlos and Hamilton, especially all of them like playing the different like undercutting, overcutting games, and yeah, so much drama.
Yeah. Was there anything else to say about the sprint? I mean, I thought the sprint was dramatic,
Um,
but it was just that the race was even more dramatic.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember what else was significant with the sprint. Mick had a good sprint. He went from 20th to 12th.
Yeah, and Alonso was like last. What happened to him? I can't even remember.
Oh, Alonso and Ocon.
Oh, the
like,
fight. They're fighting. The boys are fighting.
The boys are fighting again.
They are.
They're all
And-
fighting though. Every single team is fighting.
And they kind of are right
It's
now,
true.
except for Merck
Daniel and Lando.
Yeah.
and Daniel.
They're-
Lando.
They got their
Well, they have
fighting
their
out
own
at the beginning of the
issues.
season.
I don't know, guys.
But I think the most entertaining part of the Alpine fight was in the interviews afterwards. Alonso was basically saying like, I only have one race left with this guy. I don't really care anymore.
I loved the onboard where Ocon's like, right, what is the name of the race engineer? Was
I
like,
don't know for Ocon.
do not fight with Alonso. Repeat to me that you will not fight with Alonso.
Can you say it back to me?
And Ocon was like, I'm gonna pass Vettel. Let me pass Vettel. Let me race Vettel. And
then
the
I'll
race
let
engineer was
Alonso
like,
by.
make me a promise that you will not race with Alonso. And he was like, just let me pass Vettel. Fine.
Fine. Yikes.
It was
Was it
something.
something with Alonso and Stroll yesterday? Is that what happened?
Stroll and Vettel had an incident. Was that today?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's all blurred
Where-
We
together.
should know if we're going to talk about it. So let's just talk about the race.
Well, now I'm confused about the race. No.
This is the problem with sprint weekends. It's too much
Yeah,
action.
Too much.
Our
I was
brains
like-
get overloaded.
We should have recorded a little bit yesterday just to talk about the sprint.
Honestly, yeah.
We should have.
Yeah, that was a
But-
Just a quick
spicy
little
one.
chat.
A spicy one.
Should
But
we?
that was fun. And to see Russell like win, that was great in the sprint.
Yeah. And Felipe Massa saying to him, like, this is the first of many was very sweet.
I liked that.
Should we move on to today?
Yeah, let's hit today.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my God. It was such a roller coaster of emotions for me as a Checo fan.
Oh,
Because
girl.
when
Girl.
Max and Hamilton crashed in the beginning, and then Leclerc also had his crash. I was like, this is awesome. Checo is in second, and he can get really good points today.
This rules.
And then I felt like throughout most of the race, Checo's pace was decent, but never great.
Yeah.
And his
Yeah, he
tires were
really,
falling off very quickly.
at the end, was a little rough.
It was
to
so rough.
watch.
And I knew as soon as it was a like full safety car and not a virtual safety car, and Checo was like the only one on mediums, everybody else around him was on softs. So they put him on mediums. I was confused as to why they had done that when there were like less than 25 laps left in the race. And the sprint race was 24 and they had him on softs. Anyways.
Well, was he out of softs? Because weren't there teams that were like out of new softs?
He probably had a set that had been used somewhat during qualifying or something like that.
Yeah, that's what so maybe they didn't
Yeah.
think maybe they thought those softs weren't going to last him long enough.
I don't know. But as soon as it went to a full safety car and they were going to be all bunched up, I had a very bad feeling that he was not going to be on the podium. And then it was way worse than I expected because he just kept getting passed and passed. And
Yeah, that was some good Ferrari strategy
Didn't
to send
Fernando
Carlos
pass
in.
him?
Yeah, Carlos really
Alonso
lucked
had a
out
really...
with the safety car because he was going to need to pit again, and he was able to pit under the safety car.
Yeah. Yes, and Alonso
Fernando did pass him. Fernando finished 5th. And
Fernando,
then
like,
Max in 6th
front
and Checo in 7th.
To the bottom to back up. The man's a legend.
I know I like him more every race. He has the most insane drives.
This coming from the girl who has a Fernando shirt and it says that she hates Fernando.
Wait, you do?
I have a Fernando Alonso shirt that our dad gave to me before I went to Spain because I spent like 3 months in Spain after college. And our dad was like, here's a shirt with a Formula One driver who is Spanish. And I was like, great, this means nothing to me, but cool.
How did I never know this?
And then when we got into Formula One, I was like, why would you give me a Fernando Alonso shirt? This guy?
And now you're like, this guy.
I guess.
You should wear it for the next race, Sarah. Maybe he'll win.
Yeah, maybe he will.
I don't think he will.
Hey, this is the first win of a team that was not Red Bull or Ferrari this year.
That is so nuts.
It's nuts. Which is another reason why this race was so fun to watch, because it was like just at least something different. Those are always the best ones, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. And for not a rain race, it was still like very spicy, lots of stuff happening. What was,
it was spicy. Daniel was once again YOLOing it.
Not in a good way.
I'm like, I just am confused because it feels like he's like just falls to the wall because he's like, this is like my last 3 races. I'm just gonna go for it. But it's like really, really not working for him.
Well, he was having a good drive until he hit Kevin Magnussen.
You mean in the first lap?
lap.
He was having a good first lap.
He was having a good first lap. He was.
I just loved the thumbnail that one of you guys sent. That was like the thumbnail of McLaren's 2 DNF finish today of the video of them making Daniel and Lando talk about it. It's Lando's birthday.
And he's had food poisoning.
Yeah, and they both just look disheveled.
Yeah.
Lando looks like he's gonna like pass out or something. Like he's not having enough fluids. And it was such a bummer too, because he was having a good race. Like a pretty good race. He was doing pretty good. It was his birthday. He clearly was like fighting hard for it because of the food poisoning thing. And then his car literally just stopped working.
Yeah. Okay. Lando's birthday.
Lando keep getting sick this year?
Lando's birthday?
He has a weak
Yes?
constitution. If I know anything about the way that man eats, he has a weak constitution.
All he eats is
eating
dairy.
white bread.
Milk and ice cream.
Milk, bread, French fries.
Have you seen there's a quadrant video where they do hot ones, and
Oh my
Lando
gosh.
has a tub of ice cream. He's eating the whole thing.
I've only seen the screenshot of him trying to eat the ice cream, and then it's like he's not doing well or something.
Oh my
And he has like,
gosh.
he stuck his spoon in the whole thing and he's like taking it out like a lollipop. And he's just like,
Oh my gosh. Yep.
he has a weak constitution. I'm sure he's sick all the time. He can't eat quote unquote foreign food. He's very British.
Foreign food.
Foreign food. This guy doesn't know what hamon is. Take it back to the hamon video. Like, it's supposed to be Carlos and Lando like sharing each other's food with each other, and Carlos is like, oh my god, these foods look amazing, and he's like, all this like fresh food, you know, like he's like, this is ham, this is a fish thing, this is a like, he's got all these like real foods, and then Lando is like, oh my god, these are all the best, and he pulls it off and it's all like pre-packaged snack food. And you're just like,
it's also like middle school vending machine snack food.
Yeah. And so I stand by my statement there. I want to do, okay, wee I was gonna try to sing the song for the Formula One race. Bum ba-da-dum, bum bum. Special segment. I want to call it Grill the Girlies.
Oh boy.
Grill the Girlies. And today's Grill the Girlies will involve the two of you trying to guess the Formula One drivers' ages and rank them by age.
Oh.
All of them?
All of them.
In honor of Lando's birthday.
In honor of Lando's birthday.
Okay. Fernando, oldest.
Wait.
Oh,
I gotta
we're
pull up
starting
my
at the
list.
top. Okay. I feel like can I look at a list of them? Because I'm gonna forget their names.
No, but Anne will help you out.
Okay, great. Okay.
Wait. I gotta pull up my
Fernando's
list of
oldest,
ages.
and I believe he's 41.
Oh, we have to guess. Oh my gosh.
I think you're right, because I think this is I need to figure out what date this article was written.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. I believe that you are right. He was born in 1981. Somebody confirm
Someone
that
do
math.
some quick maths.
Quick math, people.
You gotta be prepared for your segments, Grace.
I'm prepared in a way. I read the list.
Yes, because in 2021 he would be 40, so he's 41.
Perfect.
Yes.
He is in
You like that?
2021 he would be 40.
Okay.
In 2022 he would be, I actually think he's 42 because his birthday's in July.
He's 42.
Is that right?
Okay.
Is that right?
Sure, I'll buy
Does
that.
the math check out?
Well, you can just Google it.
We're gonna have to do this with every driver.
I think once I get the math set on one person, I'll be able to kind of go backwards and forwards.
Fernando Alonso age 41.
He's 41.
Yes, thank you.
Are
very
you
much.
positive about that?
I just Googled it.
But how do you know that the Google is right? You think it updates person by
Well,
person?
Google's always right.
For age,
Google knows.
Google's right.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
Okay.
you are
next,
correct. Fernando Alonso is the oldest.
Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton.
And how old do you think Lewis Hamilton is?
Either 35 or 37.
36.
I'm gonna say
actually
37.
think he is 38.
What?
Oh my
You're
gosh,
just making
Grace.
this up.
No, I'm not. It says he's 37, but his birthday's in January. So,
So
I-
37.
so
He's 37.
Are you sure?
Yes, I just looked it up
Older
again.
than I thought he was.
Okay.
So I was right again.
Okay.
Then
Let's
it's Seb.
go on. Then
He's
it is Seb.
35.
You are
Seb.
correct. Oh no.
It's like kind of breaking my brain that Lewis is older than Seb. I
Right?
don't know how I
Oh.
didn't know that.
I know. Isn't that? I think it's because
That's crazy.
Seb was such a young winner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Seb. And then who else is there? How old is Valtteri?
Valtteri is up there.
I'm gonna let you
Um,
just get like ages correct. I won't be diving into.
Oh, not order?
No, I mean I want you to do it in
Okay,
order.
I
But there
wanna
are
say
people who are
that-
all the same age.
Seb
Oh,
and
got it.
K-Mag are the same age, and they're both 34.
Sarah?
No,
would
sorry,
you agree with that?
33. 33.
Sure.
Seb?
I feel like Seb's older than that.
No, sorry.
Isn't he
Okay,
35? We
Valtteri
talked
and
about this.
K-Mag. Valtteri and K-Mag, 33.
Oh,
I already said Seb is 35.
Okay.
okay.
So you're wrong. Valtteri is 32.
Checo's
I'm trying to
32
use
as
my
well, isn't he?
no.
Whoa.
This is
Whoa.
confusing.
It's like
Oh my
Valtteri,
gosh.
Checo, K-Mag, they're all right around the same age.
They are. Except K-Mag is not
And
in that
Daniel.
group.
Wait, Daniel's
Is
like
K-Mag
34.
younger? Oh, Daniel, that's what I was forgetting. He's in that group. He's like a year older than Botus. Am I right?
Okay. Are you locking that in? What age are
We're
you
locking it in.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Daniel
34.
33,
Sure. 33. That sounds right.
Botus and Checo 32, K-Mag 30.
Okay, no. So Valtteri and Daniel are both 33.
Uh-huh.
Perez is also 33.
They're all 33.
They are all 33.
Okay.
Let's get into Kevin Magnussen. He's not 33.
Checo
Kevin
is
Magnussen
32.
have a call.
What?
Checo is 32.
Don't come for me with my math.
Are they all 32 then?
I'm pretty sure he's 32. You are
Daniel's
correct.
33.
When they made this list, they were all 32. But you were right. Birthdays have
Valtteri is
happened.
33.
Birthdays
So
have happened.
I want to say I was right there.
Okay, you were right. But you were wrong about Kevin Magnussen.
How old is he?
I think he's 30.
That's what I
Or
said.
he might be, he's turning 30. I don't know.
Grace, this is a mess.
He
That's
was
what
born,
I said.
he was born in 1992 in October.
Yeah.
So
that
he's
checks out.
30.
He's 30.
He's 30.
Oh, we're past October now. I don't know why I thought we were in September.
It is November.
I
It
don't
is
know.
Thanksgiving in a
Okay.
week and a half.
Okay. Who's the next driver down that list?
Carlos.
I can't.
And he's like 28.
Carlos? Okay. Sure.
Anne is right. Carlos is 28.
I spent some time studying this what year drivers were born in when I sent that out to the group.
Oh my
Oh, I
gosh.
forgot about that.
This is why you don't mute the text thread, Sarah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I feel fine about that decision, actually. Still feeling fine.
Let's hit the midfield here, people.
This is where it
Who's
gets
left?
hard.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really
Mhm,
hard.
mhm. It's fine. Esteban's
Charles and
in there
Max
somewhere.
are 25.
Okay. You're
Yeah.
missing a whole bunch of 27-year-olds.
Nikki
27.
Latifi.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go 27. Let's
That's good.
throw uh I don't know. I can only think of the babies.
Alex is
Esteban
younger
Ocon,
than
he's been
that.
driving for a while.
Esteban, 27.
Pierre Gasly,
And Pierre Gasly's in the mix there.
he's been driving for a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you want to say for Pierre? How old do you think he is?
26.
26.
I think he's my age.
You are right.
Nailed it.
Who are you putting next?
Are there more
Lando, what did he say?
27-year-olds?
He just turned 23.
He's just turned 23. Are there more 27-year-olds still?
How old is
There
Zhou
are
Guan Yu?
more 26-year-olds and there are 25-year-olds. So don't miss
Okay.
them.
So Charles and Max I know are 25. Who would be is Ocon 26?
Yes.
Yes, because he and Pierre are like the exact same age. From the same, like 20 minutes apart from each other area in France.
Yes.
BFFs.
And there's did you guys get
Is
I don't
Alex
wanna-
24?
Oh, Alex
Or
Albon.
is he 25?
25.
Is he 26?
he
Come on.
is?
He's 26?
26,
Yeah.
baby.
I always think he's younger than that.
And then now we get into some 25-year-olds.
We
Charles
already
and
said the
Max.
25-year-olds.
Who else
Charles
is he,
and Max.
25?
That is correct. Charles and Max.
Are there
George
more?
Russell?
George Russell.
Think he's
He's
actually
gotta be younger. Is he 24?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. Who's next after Russell?
Lando.
Lando's 23.
There's another 24-year-old.
Yuki, I think, is 22.
Mick, is Mick the youngest? Mick's got to be the youngest.
No,
Mhm.
Mick's 24.
Oh, really?
Mick is 24.
Okay.
Who are we missing still?
Zhou Guan Yu.
Who's someone young who's been in F1 for a long time?
Lando.
23. We got
That's-
that.
Yeah,
Birthday
but you're
boy.
still
Oh, no,
missing
I'm out.
someone.
I'm out of drivers.
Young
You're not. Think
in
about
F1 for a
having
long time.
thinking about having a dad who finances you.
Lance
Lance
freaking
Stroll.
Stroll.
24. He started at Williams super young.
Yep, he did.
He started at Williams when he was like
Williams?
18 or 19. Yes.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
his dad bought Racing Point.
Yes,
He's at Williams'
Is
first
that
season of
everybody?
Drive to Survive, Sarah. Come on, it's canon.
it's canon.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd lock that
So we've
out.
got a 24-year-old Lance. We've got a
Mhm.
24-year-old Mick.
Mhm.
Who's next? You've called out Lando. That was a good call.
Mhm.
Now
Lando's
23.
Yuki?
Yuki's 22.
Yuki is 22.
I'm
You're
gonna
missing
say
one.
Joke on you. 21 or
21?
22? Is he
Is he
20?
really young? Is this his?
No,
is
he's
this his,
23, guys. Good try.
This is his first season, though, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Wow.
Well, it's going to be Nick DeVries' first season next year, and he's going to be like 28.
Mhm. He's 27 right now.
I didn't know that.
He has a baby face.
Yeah.
He does.
Well, good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him.
But yes, thank you
Et
for
cetera.
coming to my Grill the Girlies. I may have to work out the logistics of that in the future, but I think
I like Grill the Girlies. I think it's
Having a prepared list of answers might be helpful.
No, I think we need more like audio-based segments. It's so hard when you have to like think of the names, you know.
that's
Mhm.
true.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
got to dig into
Agreed.
your McElboy's arsenal.
That's a good idea. Okay. But okay, back to the race. Poor Lando.
Yeah.
Birthday boy.
Poor Lando. Poor
Yeah,
McLaren.
yeah.
Rough day at McLaren.
I don't
It
feel
was a
bad
rough
for
day at
McLaren.
McLaren.
Just kidding. No, I do. I do feel bad for them. I feel something.
I definitely feel something. Yeah, yeah. Do I feel bad for Zach Brown?
No,
Mm.
no.
That's mean, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, also like I feel like it's been interesting the way that obviously like the Alpines and McLaren are like tightly competing for the
Mhm.
championship, and I feel like they just every other race one team just gets demolished, and then
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
team does well, and then the next race the other team gets demolished, and the you're just
And what
like
Yeah, I
happened
mean,
even in
Alpine.
the course of the weekend, because Alpine had a terrible sprint, and McLaren,
Mm,
Lando was up in, what was he, like,
fourth. No,
fourth?
is that
no,
true?
he was not in
Fifth?
fourth.
Fifth.
Was he in fifth? He
He was
started
up
fifth.
there.
He was in sixth for the race, and then Carlos had his penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Okay.
So yeah, McLaren had a really good day in the sprint, and then it just like completely reversed fortunes the next
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
Lando was ahead of Carlos for the start of the race.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
McLaren.
the real
You
question
know
I
who I'm
have
really. Go
is
ahead.
between Ferrari and Mercedes, who is going to finish second in the championship next week? Because I think it's like 19 points separate them now.
Yeah, they're very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we take bets?
I don't really care who wins. I don't know.
Top team, who cares?
No, I
Well,
think Mercedes is gonna win. I think Mercedes is on this like upward path there, and Ferrari's kind of spiraling.
I think
I'm
Sam might be
gonna
right.
I'm gonna say Ferrari, because I think that
Whoa.
Mercedes would need one of the Ferraris to either not score points or DNF. At least one, if not both of
Oh.
them. Unless they got another like 1-2, which would be surprising.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
It'll be
I'm sticking with Ferrari.
that's definitely the most interesting race there. I think but you know, okay, so I was reading I think I was reading like an article where they were talking to Otmar about Alpine, and this was in regards to Alonso's DNF in Mexico City. But basically, Otmar was like, "Listen, we can't really improve the. I don't know. I'm." Basically, he said our goal was to push this car to the limits to work on improving reliability. And so, yes, Alonso DNF'd, but we're not like yeah, we want to do better in the championship, but like ultimately we want to improve reliability for next season. So we're
Mhm.
going to run these cars until they catch on fire
To find their
so that we
limits so
can
they're better next year.
yes. Yes.
Interesting.
Which Ocon's car literally caught on fire after the sprint.
I know. When I first saw that picture, I
heard
didn't
that.
believe that it was actually true. I thought it was like photoshopped as a joke.
So I think that to me, maybe I'm totally wrong, but I feel like Alpine has more strategy in their like in what's happening right now. Whereas I feel like McLaren is just like trying their best.
Yeah. I mean, Otmar, his years at Force India shows that he knows how to optimize what resources he has.
Yeah.
So
That's my hot take for the day.
Yeah. I'm excited for Pierre to be at Alpine next year, to have a good car and see what he's able to do with it when he doesn't crash test. Bestie.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be spicy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Should we get into the teammate drama of it all?
Okay,
Wait, we
before we
haven't
get
really
into teammate specific drama, can I just say Lando and Charles, I'm worried. Lando took out Charles, like fully. And I just feel like it's irreparable damage. I don't know.
I don't feel like Lando like took him out on purpose.
That's it. That's
You
it.
think it's
No.
gonna break up the streaming quartet, Sarah?
Well, yeah. They're like buddies. that's the thing. I feel like now, I don't know if this is true in the past, but I feel like these days, maybe because of the COVID stuff and all the streaming, Twitch, whatever, it's like this generation of drivers seems very tight and like actual friends. But then it's days like today where you're like, oh, they're really still like racing each other.
Well,
Like they will, you know, the claws are out.
well, there was an interview with Leclerc recently where they were like, who's your closest friend on the grid? And he was like, Pierre is really my only like real friend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he meant it like none of them are my friends, but he was like, Pierre is my like actual friend. And
The
everyone
person
else
I would
I'm
still
like,
be friends with if I wasn't
Yeah.
driving, and then I would see in life if I wasn't driving.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
work friends.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But like, I'm not actively trying to like make my work friends fail professionally. You know?
It's like, I think I don't remember a ton about that crash, but I remember it didn't feel like he was like trying to do that. I think he couldn't like
No.
handle
No,
the
I don't think he
McLaren.
was. I don't think he was. It was just, I think Charles on the radio like called him a dick.
Oh,
And I was
yeah.
like,
Charles is on a tear right now. He's okay. He also like gave an interview recently where he was basically like, I want to be world championship and I'll do it wherever I have to. And people were like,
He seems to have finally given
He's
up
out.
the I'm gonna play by Ferrari's rules to some
although
degree.
he
him.
still is. Like he's still taking their strategy calls, I feel like. How did he end up on
Yeah.
frickin' Inters?
I know. I don't know.
I
Oh my
guess
gosh.
he had more fresh soft tires for the race, but at what cost?
Oh my god.
Well, he ended up doing better in the race than Checo and Max anyways. So
Yeah. That was interesting when Charles was like, please think of the championship points. What about my championship points? On the radio.
So
That's what
Sarah,
happened,
since
Sarah.
you missed it, that was
Uh-huh.
that was basically the extent of it. And apparently, the very sweet part of this is that afterwards,
Is it
apparently
sweet?
Ferrari did not relay this message to Carlos. And Carlos was asked about it, and he was like, I wasn't asked on the radio, but I would have done it for him. Which was
I did see that.
very
I saw
sweet.
that.
Yeah, but of course,
Yeah.
I say as a huge Carlos stan, like, of course he's gonna say that. That's a win-win for him. He didn't have to give up a position, and he can be like, I would have done it. And you're like,
and he
you
looks
wouldn't have,
like
and you
the
shouldn't.
perfect person where you have Max, who everybody is just
That's
like,
why he
thinks
said
he's
it.
awful.
He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing.
And it's
It's all
actually really,
PR.
now that's good Ferrari strategy, where Ferrari's like, if we don't tell Carlos, they will still be friends, but on our like team side, we don't think he should do that. But I also feel like Ferrari was basically like, Charles, it's not going to happen. They were like, we'll look into it. Let me look it up.
Well,
Let me
also,
look up what the
I do
standings
think
are.
there is a big difference between Carlos losing a podium and Max losing 6th place for 7th.
Of
Yeah, and
course there
also
is.
in the race, it was a very different situation because Alonso was like flying and very close to Charles, and Carlos was like 4 seconds ahead of Charles.
Yeah.
So it was like he might have given up the position, or they might have both like lost third to Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
That
Which
would've been
that would have
fun,
been exciting.
Yeah, and if anyone could do it, it would be Fernando Alonso.
Yes, it would.
Our
At the line.
king of Spain.
So yeah, I don't think those were like equal. I cannot believe Max would not give up his place to Checo. That was a real troll. And when he was like, I've talked to you guys about this, don't ask me. I was like, yeah,
I've
you
given
would
my
say
reasons.
that.
You have no idea how mad I was.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, in the grand scheme of things, it makes no difference if Max finishes 6th or if he finishes 7th right now. But it does make a difference to Checo. And it also makes me really mad because of how many times Checo has done things that help Max, of either like giving him a toe during qualifying, which hurts Checo's qualifying, or like literally in Abu Dhabi last year, it was because Checo held up Lewis Hamilton that it like kind of ruined Checo's race to some degree, but it made it so that Lewis Hamilton was not so far ahead that he could get a free pit stop when the safety car came in. And so Max was able to like stop and put on softs, and Hamilton wasn't. And so Max wins. And that's because of Checo. And then Max wouldn't do this like one simple thing to help Checo. And it,
Which, yeah, I think in
so
the
mad.
post-race show that one of the like reserve drivers from Alpine, I think, was talking about it. It was like, well, maybe Max is trying to get like the most points ever or something. And was like, literally, why would he? No, that sucks. That sucks.
No,
Because
it
yeah,
really
it's like
sucks.
Checo
I was not
takes-
impressed with his commentary, I will say, during that point.
Anne was like, I don't like that guy.
Oh my gosh. No, I think from what I've seen in this brief time since the race, it seems like this is the most united the F1 fan base has ever been.
It
In
isn't
the
though.
anger towards Max. Like, I keep seeing comments from people who are like, as a Dutchman and a huge fan of Max Verstappen, I am ashamed.
As a
See,
Dutchman.
I was seeing things about how apparently there's some theory that Checo in Monaco crashed in qualifying so that Max would not be able to improve his position. And so Max is mad at Checo from that, and that's why he wouldn't give the spot up. And
Oh my gosh. I
It's,
saw
like,
that and I was
crazy.
like, I don't understand this. They were like, they made some comment about like that Checo was able to crash without damaging his car too much. And I was like, wait, what's happening? But okay,
crazy.
to go
And the
to
people
the
who are saying this have said that either like Max or his dad have confirmed this. And I'm just like, what?
okay, to go to the Ferrari like fanatic side of this, there are people in the Ferrari fandom who believe that, okay, so I think Santander is one of the sponsors for Ferrari, and that's a Spanish
Mhm.
bank. And they say that the bank is making Ferrari favor Carlos in strategy, and that's why Charles is doing so poorly.
What?
I thought you were going to say that the bank was making Ferrari have horrible strategy and fail this season so they could have some comeback next year or something.
It's all to favor Carlos. I'm like, it doesn't, to be,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
when you watch that, you're like, I don't really see Carlos being favored. I see Carlos being like, no, I'm not doing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
Charles
feel
like, am I the
for
only one on
me,
Inters?
I feel like Ferrari
And well, maybe
is like one of
Ferrari.
the only teams that doesn't seem to have like a really strong 1-2. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh
that's just
yeah, I
my
totally agree with
opinion.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I
You're-
mean,
Which is fun to see, but it's also like maybe
What's
it's not
happening?
working for them so well. Like, I don't know.
because I
I
think
think-
Merck is still Hamilton's team. Red Bull will
Yeah.
be Max's team until he leaves. McLaren is Lando's team.
Mhm.
Alpine at the moment. I don't know.
Alpine, I
Alpine's
think
in a
also has
weird
a very
situation.
equal.
Yeah.
Alpine has a very like both drivers
Sure.
are.
But
I
of
think
the
that's
teams that
Otmar's
are-
thing. He likes to let him fight it out.
Yeah. AlphaTauri
Yeah,
is
he
Pierre's team. Alfa Romeo, I would say, is Bottas's team.
Bottas, yeah. I mean, you get
yeah.
down into that
Williams is
area, and then
Alex's
it's just
team.
like, who's the most senior? And
driving
Alex
better?
is more
Yeah.
true. Yeah. But I think Ferrari, like, I think Mattia and like Ferrari has been pretty upfront about like, we don't favor any driver. We just want them to be fast. And then
Mhm.
if they want to win, they can win. Because last year, Carlos was above Charles in the driver's standings.
Mhm.
And I think their strategy seems like they're pretty like, we're out here, you guys race it out.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I going back to their strategy with qualifying with the tires, I feel like it could have happened that over the radios, they had conversations with both drivers where they're like, we think we should put one of you on slicks, one of you on inters to like split our strategy. And Carlos is like, I'm going on slicks.
Yeah, there is a moment where Ricky
and so
says,
then
no, there's a moment where Ricky says it's like starting to spit, and Carlos says, I don't care, let's go for it, put me on slicks.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Charles, because he doesn't say that, just gets put into, oh, you're gonna be the opposite side of the split
You're gonna be the
strategy.
wet
You're
car.
getting inters.
You're the wet car.
I mean, I feel like McLaren kept doing this to Daniel last year. They'd be like, we're going to try out some tire stuff on your car this race.
Yeah.
Nothing new this
There-
time, but just with
I
you.
mean, the truth is, like, the better you are at like maneuvering your team, the better you're gonna be.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Hamilton is not just like good because he's a good driver. He's good because he has all of Mercedes behind him, and he knows how
Yeah.
to communicate about the car and get the strategy right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I feel like Max and Lewis go about forming the team around them in two very different ways. Where Lewis is much more like subtle and behind the scenes and like, I'm gonna work as hard as I can. And it's almost like he tries to, at least what it seems, at least the way it's presented to the public, is he tries to like convince the team to support him because of how like hard he's working and how good he is. And Max is just like, I am the best. My car is the lead car. And just like, we're
You work
not
for
willing to
me.
accept anything besides
Well,
like getting the best of the best from them.
let's get into the like yos of it all, because there's I feel like there's still so much like speculating about how involved he is in what happens in Red Bull. And like there were, when Carlos and Max were at Toro Rosso together, there was a lot of like gossip about that their dads were really horrible with each other, and like yeah, that it was
Yeah,
like
believe
the
it.
sons got along fine, but the dads were like super manipulative, and like it's all gossip, who knows what's real. But I feel like people still persist in this story of like Yost is back there like pulling strings to make things work the way they do at Red Bull these days.
Yeah,
It's wild.
I would believe that.
And believes
Anne's
it.
like, what?
And believes it. Okay.
Wow, she's a Checo fan.
She is
Really?
a Checo fan.
Well, and I feel like I just saw like a joking like Instagram reel where they were talking about like race engineers in Formula One versus in rally, and how like in Formula One it's very like, stop talking, I need to concentrate. And in rally, it's like the race engineer is super important because they don't practice the tracks a lot, and it's much more of a like team based endeavor. Not that Formula One isn't, but it's even more so in rally. And I was like, I wonder how much like, I don't
That has
think
impacted
that-
Carlos's driving.
yeah, I'm like, I don't think Carlos Sr. is there at all. That's like not the, I think he comes to like 1 or 2 races a year these days, but like, because he's racing himself. But I'm like, if that's what you grew up around, if that's the way that you saw your parent like do their sport, then that's more how you build yourself. And people definitely think of Carlos as being like a team driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based off of the way that Carlos Sr. presents himself and is presented in Drive to Survive, I would say I would be much more surprised of with him being manipulated behind the scenes at Toro Rosso compared to Yost.
I wouldn't put it away though, because even like when Carlos got signed to Ferrari, he says that it was his dad who woke him up and was like, you have a Ferrari contract, come sign it. So obviously like his dad is somewhat involved in what's happening.
Yeah. And I'm sure that like him, like I know in one of the Netflix series, probably the first one, he says something, Carlos Sr. said something to the effect of like, if I could just be his dad and not be Carlos Sainz, I would want to do that. But that to some degree has to be him presenting himself how he wants to present himself.
Let's not deny too that this is the kind of sport that it's like basically a requirement to either have like family who like has history in this sport, or family that's like obsessively supportive to the point of like spending all of their money invested in you doing the sport, taking you to like racing, like the amount of parental commitment I think that goes into something like this requires a certain amount of obsession from the parents probably, and I can't imagine that that's just like dropping off immediately once your kid gets into Formula One, right? Like,
Yeah.
so many of them have racing dads or dads who are buying teams for them, or like, I don't know if you've heard Lewis talk about his dad, but his dad was like really, really intense. I don't think he had any history in racing, but just like as a coach, as like a mental coach, was just very, very intense, super high standards.
And
So,
I know
like,
that Lewis's dad was the one who like took him to all of the go-kart races and was his mechanic for the go-karts, and also I think was his manager for a long time in Formula One, until Lewis said like, we need to stop and try and actually have a relationship as father and son after we were break from each other.
So I just, it's not surprising, it would not be surprising if fathers, parents are still trying to meddle. Sports dads do as sports dads do.
Yeah, I think about that with Mick too, and how much like he doesn't have a meddling dad available, and I feel like he's struggling a little because of that. Like I feel like
he just
Vettel is helping him out as much as he can.
But Vettel is like gonna be the person who plays by the rules and like will fight for Mick, but he's not gonna do anything dirty to fight for Mick.
What do you think about the idea that I just had? Conspiracy theory. Schumacher's leaving for a year to try and come back next year to be on a team with Mick.
You mean Vettel?
I did. Vettel. Is that what I said?
Can be a team
You said Schumacher leaving to come back
and
with
who's
Mick.
Gonna hire
Mick. No.
Sorry, Sarah, you just said that Vettel's gonna start a team.
Yeah. Team principal at Audi, Mick as a driver, and Daniel.
Who's the second driver? Daniel? Daniel's like Nico! Been saying all this stuff about how supportive.
Oh, I don't like Nico.
Yeah, I don't either. I love them. I love the people who are like making fun of him on Twitter about how a horse could get into the Austin Grand Prix, but he couldn't because he's not vaccinated.
I remember that.
They were like, how does it feel knowing a horse can get into a Grand Prix when you can't?
Oh my gosh. That's wild. No, okay, but back to the Seb Mick of it all. I was thinking about this when you guys were doing the drivers rankings last week when I was listening to that episode, because that is what made me become a huge Seb fan, was watching the Seb Mick content from this year, because it's so adorable. Like they're playing soccer back in the paddock. I don't know if you guys saw, but Mick was Seb's driver in the drivers parade this weekend.
I just saw a picture or like a 5-second video, and it was so cute.
It was so cute.
That sounds very cute.
And also Mick like went off the track to go really close to the fans, and it was adorable.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I love that too.
It seemed like the energy in Brazil was awesome. I follow Lewis Hamilton on Instagram. I know you guys don't because you're haters, but Lewis in Brazil is Danny in Austin, truly. So he had a great week. There was like a whole mural reveal. He was like hanging out in schools and like doing all this cute stuff and doing like karting in the streets.
Yeah, but I
It was
saw it looked
very,
like
very
so much
cute.
fun and so wholesome, and yes,
Yeah.
just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesomeness all around.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a
Can
fun
only
week.
I love
imagine
it.
what the crowd would have done if Lewis had won.
I
I
know.
know, but it's such a good race.
Yeah, and he was
It
so
seemed like
gracious in
Mercedes
second.
was letting them fight.
Oh yeah, Mercedes was like
Yeah.
race.
Yeah.
They said, what did they say? They
George
said, be
earned it.
respectful.
Yes.
That was in the
Yes.
race.
Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah, it was during the safety car. George asked, like, are we going for the 1-2 or are we racing? And his race engineer responded, you're racing, but be respectful.
So funny.
So
So funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't even talked about George. His first
Yeah,
win.
we'll do a
Yeah.
quick.
Oh,
Georgie boy.
I was very happy for him.
He earned
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I think the best moment was watching his face when they were playing God Save the King. Which also,
Oh, King.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
First time that has been
First
God
time
Save the
ever.
King during a Formula One race.
Are there
Oh.
words? Do they play words?
No.
No, not in the no.
So
no.
it's the same song.
It's the same song.
Okay, cool.
But
Oh
okay,
my
why
God,
is
Sarah.
George vacillates so much for me from just like so annoying to like such a little sweetie pie.
His
Like
good
he's
moments
standing
are
up there.
so great.
Yeah, like trying so hard not to cry. Just like you can
This is
tell that he's
our
just like,
win.
take it in, take it in. Just live in this moment, be present. And it's just very endearing. And then sometimes you're like, this freaking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Or like the
He's
episode
passionate.
where they showed him like getting his first points and getting that second place in Spa in the last season of Drive to Survive. That's a great episode. And like he came off as just like, for the most part, very sweet and just like the way that he loved Williams and was like enjoyed fighting so hard with them to make any improvements. Was so
It was
wholesome.
very cute that
Mhm.
Williams posted their little congratulations to him.
Yeah.
That
I
was
loved it.
wholesome.
Yes.
It almost felt like a Daniel, like when Danny won last year in Monza.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was that energy in the paddock, I think, because
Yeah.
everybody was just like, oh, so happy for George, so proud of George, you
Yeah.
know, like
Even
it's just
Hamilton
nice
was
to
like,
see- nice to win one.
Yeah. Two
Yeah.
first-time race winners this year. Carlos
Who's
and
the other one?
George.
Oh, Carlos. Yeah.
Silverstone.
Carlito.
Yeah. Though I don't think those first-time winners were quite as exciting as 2020 when it was Pierre and Checo.
Yeah.
Mostly
Those were
because of
good.
what cars they were in.
Pierre. That was
Right?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
for
Pierre might
sure.
win in an Alpine next year.
Now that would be fun.
It would
I
be.
am ready to see Alpine be competitive because I feel like I forget about them and then I watch the races and I'm like, oh, they're really doing it out here.
Yeah.
Like,
They're really going for it.
they're really driving out there. They're driving fast.
Okay, it does really beg the question about the Otmar of it all with Aston Martin, where you're like,
yes.
I mean, he went to Alpine and made Alpine incredibly competitive. And when he was at Aston Martin, they
one
were,
season.
yeah, you're kind of like,
What's going on here?
why would you lose him? That seems like a guy to keep around.
Yeah.
Otmar's an interesting character.
He
I
definitely
think
is.
he is secretly a very skilled behind the scenes operator of a team.
Oh, he definitely is. I also
I
think
agree. It
he's
just
probably
seems like
difficult
people-
to work with.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like people don't like him. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say it. But wait,
Okay, as a
he's at
Checo
Alpine,
fan,
right?
he's at Alpine. As a Checo fan, knowing that it was him and Checo that kept Force India together when they
Yeah,
went
yeah.
through administration, that makes me
Oh,
think
yeah.
much more highly of Otmar.
Yeah. I mean, he's been working with Alonso all year.
What do you mean by that, Sarah?
How to deal with difficult situations.
I think Alonso is an incredible driver, but I've seen his edit, okay?
I've seen his edit. He gives himself his own
He
edit.
gives himself a rough edit, okay? He does.
I think the moment that started to change how I thought of Alonso was when all of the drama about silly season started after he signed his contract with Aston Martin, and then Alpine puts out the statement about Oscar Piastri saying he's gonna drive for Alpine, and then he tweets back, "I'm not driving for you." And Fernando Alonso just posted an Instagram story like 2 minutes after those tweets of him go-karting, and then he turns the camera around and gives a thumbs up. And it was such perfect trolling of him, of like, enjoy all the chaos, I'm having fun.
I'm go-karting. I'm Fernando Alonso. This is what I do in my free time.
After he had told Otmar that he was, or well,
I'm
Otmar
on a
had
yacht.
said, that Fernando had told him, "I'm on a yacht. I don't have cell phone service."
What a jerk.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Anything else? Anything else to throw
Were
in
there
there?
any other hot takes from this race that you remember?
Not
I mean,
personally, no.
Charles also drove a very impressive. Charles and Verstappen
He
both
did.
really like pulled themselves up.
I couldn't
Through
believe
that
that they
there was
both were
really
able to
good
continue the
racing.
race.
Hamilton got driver of the day, which is great. He had a great drive, but there was so much good driving today. I think like almost anybody could have gotten it. Like Charles could have gotten it easily. He had a great drive. Max, I guess, could have gotten it. George Russell, like he won the freaking race.
He won his first race.
There was just some good driving. It was a fun race to watch. Yeah.
I do think it's funny how like it seems like the person who wins the race never gets driver of the day.
Yeah, because they get the
It's
blessing
very
of being the winner. They don't need a second honorarium.
Maybe if it was like a real underdog, or they like, I bet Checo won driver of the day when he won that race in 2020.
He did not. George did.
How do you
he was
know
in the
that?
Mercedes. Because I am obsessed with Checo, Sarah. We have made that official today.
Anne wants to marry Checo, but he's already married.
P18?
With 3 kids.
He has children, Anne.
I know. I did not say I want to marry Checo. Grace said that.
That was a poke for you saying in the last episode that I wanted to marry Carlos.
Well, that's true.
That's not true.
Whoa.
Now, who does Sarah want to marry?
Lewis Hamilton, obviously.
Yeah.
She says nothing. She's like,
Lewis is the only driver cool enough for her.
That's true. And he does.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah. Do you like dogs though?
His dog is cute, Roscoe.
She's like, I think about it.
I'll think about it.
Oh man. Well,
but great race, loved it.
Great
Ready
race.
to go.
10 out
I'm
of
ready
10.
to go back to Brazil.
I did see a tweet from one of the WTF1 people saying that the way Formula One could become more like green and save on travel is just to have 24 races a year in Brazil.
I like that. Okay.
Good.
Here's my last moment about the race. I loved in the after like the race winner conference when they were like, what are you going to do to celebrate? And George was like, oh, me and Carlos are on the same flight to Abu Dhabi. And Carlos was like, I told him I'll buy the drinks. And George was like, they're free on the airplane.
And then Carlos said, that's why I'm paying.
I'm paying.
Yeah, that was really good. That
It
was really
so
good.
cute.
They're on
Yeah.
the same private
Same
jet.
Yeah.
flight.
It's
Same.
very fun to see.
Did you guys see the photos and videos? Did you guys see the videos of Sebastian Vettel like in a in an airport, like fully
Yes.
just like taking an economy
Yes.
flight to Brazil?
Yes.
I love.
I love
Well,
it.
Love it.
One
Love
time I called Sarah up to get my quick fan fiction moment in. One time I was talking to Sarah about some fan fiction I had read, I think about Pierre Gasly, but it doesn't matter because the whole point that I was calling her mad about was that like in the fan fiction they were like all the drivers were on the plane together because it was more fun if they all took the same flight. And I was like, this is not how any of this works.
No.
I was like, I don't think so.
They're all on the coach flights.
They're all in
Just
coach
hanging
together.
out.
And like Toto walks past you and is like, see you when we get there. And
Can you imagine the chaos though if all 20 of them plus all 10 team principals were on the
Yeah.
same like private chartered flight? It would be chaos.
which I guess I don't think they
I would
all
watch that
take
show.
chartered flights all the time. Like I guess when they're doing like a flight from Brazil to Abu Dhabi is a long way. Maybe they
Yeah.
are on.
Abu Dhabi.
I don't know. Someone talked to me about the travel of it
Yeah.
all.
The travel is crazy. And
I don't
also
know. Except I feel like Daniel is always posting pictures on private jets.
But Daniel's working the friend angle where he's just like, I just get on the private jet of my friends.
I don't even know whose jet this is.
Yeah, I just
My
showed
buddy
up. We're
invited
just
me.
hanging out.
Yeah. But well, okay, and one of the crazy things about like F1 trying to become more like eco-conscious is that even if they plan all of the races so they're all like region by region and they're all near each other, most of the drivers want to go home in between races anyways. So they're not going to be like, oh, this swing is all in Asia, so we're going to spend the next month and a half in Asia at all these different races. They're going to go home in between.
I don't know if that's true because I
They
mean,
have
I
so
think
much stuff.
yeah, they do have a lot of stuff. But that's why they have like 3 different sets of materials that they have like moving all over the world at a time.
I didn't know that.
That's true. I think I watched a YouTube video once about the travel for Formula One. It was actually really interesting.
If you can find it, send it my way.
I will. But yeah, but they were basically saying like every team has like 3 sets of stuff. I think it's 3, maybe it's 5. And so like a lot of the stuff is getting shipped by like boat from
Yeah.
place to place. And so they're like, you have weeks
Mhm.
between when you like take something down and it shows up in the next place where it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, and I was also thinking more about just like
Sure.
the drivers themselves.
Yeah.
They will
But
want to fly home and like be with their families. And
Well, what I was gonna,
whatever.
definitely hear what you're saying, but I think when they're like so far away, they like actually prefer to get there early to deal with like the jet lag and the like
Yeah.
environmental changes. So I don't
Mhm.
know how much they're flying home.
I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
That's a
But
question we can ask a Formula One driver when they're on our pod one day.
Okay, let's wrap
perfect.
this up.
Sarah.
Okay. Do the outro, Anne. Start singing the song. Just kidding.
Thank you all so much for joining us this week on the We Don't Know Wheel F1. We'll hopefully see you all next week in Abu Dhabi to wrap up this crazy season.
Ooh. I wonder who's going to win the Drivers' Championship.
I wonder as well.
I'm
Who
on the
will
edge
be
of my
crowned
seat.
the best constructor of them all.
All right.
Oh.
Bye, everyone.